like my actual school share. That way I don't really image it. You wanna shut the door?
Sure.
To make some notes here. Okay.
Alright, so, I should probably explain to you a little bit about what I'm doing. I'm doing my ELP project, and I'm researching homelessness in our area, and I'm having trouble finding information like online or in books, because there's just not a lot out there. So I've been trying to talk to some like specific people who work with people who are homeless. So I've talked to Karen Rao over at Rao or Rao, I don't know,
Rao,
but
yep.
she's the director of House of Hope.
Okay.
And I got some information from her, and I thought I'd talk to you because at our school I know that we have people who are homeless, and it's on a much more personal level for people here. Like they might know someone who is homeless, and so I feel like people can connect to that. And so I'm trying to make a documentary to raise awareness and maybe suggest some ways that people can help in their community with homelessness. So, first of all, I just want to ask you a couple of things about you, because you're a counselor. So how long have you been a counselor at home?
This is my 13th year total, but my 4th year at home. So I was an elementary counselor for 9 years, and then this is my 4th year at the junior high level.
Okay. And what's the best part about being a counselor?
I'd say the best part is that no day is the same, right? So kids always are having different concerns, or there's different activities going on, and so I'd say the best part is just like, you know that you're going to have a positive interaction with somebody throughout your day, and that it's ever changing.
Okay. And what's the hardest part of being?
Always not being able to fix things, right? Is that I know that we have you guys for 7 hours, and we can be positive and we can help all we can, but there are many issues facing our youth today that we don't always have the answers, whether it's they're suffering from mental health, or they are homeless, or they have an abusive situation at home. There's just so many different things that our students face that we just can't be the answer all the time.
Okay. Do you speak with a lot of kids who have trouble at home?
I would say on occasion, yes. I would say, there's always a couple a week, whether it is just like they're dealing with typical teenage stuff that their parents aren't letting them do what they want to do, versus they are seeing abuse or neglect, or potentially there's addictive behaviors that their families are experiencing. So it ranges based on each child.
Because I researched like what the definition of homelessness is, and I found out that if you have domestic violence in your home, that is considered being homeless, because it's not a home if you're going home to like abuse.
And I would say the students that we have probably don't qualify as homeless under that definition, but that definition makes a whole lot of sense as well, that it's not considered a safe place to live.
Okay. So are there any kids that you have talked to who are homeless and struggle with that?
I don't know how forthcoming they are, but yes, there are students that are in like transition of homes, whether it be they were evicted from their home, or potentially an abusive situation where they have had to go and stay at a shelter before, so they're temporarily homeless. I would say most of our students here that are homeless are with a family member somewhere, but that still is a classification of homelessness, so they might be staying with a grandparent or an aunt, or potentially like a family friend. But it's not their parents' residence, so that could qualify them as having a homeless status. And homeless status is called McKinley-Vento, and in the Cedar Falls School District there are 32 students that qualify under that, and I would say most definitely that's not all of them. I know for one family in particular, they chose not to move forward with that. There are some services that the district provides, like transportation, so they could live within Reason, so they could be in Dyke or Waterloo or Waverly, for example, and our district would provide transportation for them. And I know there's a family that lives further than that chooses not to qualify as homeless, and they provide their own transportation.
Okay. So what other services does Family Central provide?
So, mostly transportation, and then they would have free and reduced lunch. It would be free lunch, but knowing that doesn't include everything. So they couldn't have 2 lunches, but they would get free lunch and breakfast would be served to them. They also, a lot of times, we would find a way that they could be in athletic events that maybe they don't have access to the Echoes bus, but we would find transportation for them. We really try, but that's not a guarantee. Like, so being part of extracurriculars isn't necessarily a guaranteed in that status. Coaches are just really gracious, and they sometimes provide their own transportation or get a school vehicle and take them.
Okay. If someone were to come and see you who had like struggles at home or was homeless, what advice or how could you help them?
I would say consistency and like being a consistent person for them is really important, and also just having a way of like what can we provide them here. So if they need to, if they don't have access to like laundry or showering or getting things that they need like clean clothes, those are things that we can all set them up with services. We do the very best we can. We also, sometimes it's difficult for medical, like if they need a physical, sometimes we have taken students to Success Street in Waterloo at either East High or West High, and they're able to get like a sports physical for that, and that's any of our families, not just students that would be considered homeless. But I think providing them with like what structure can we provide you here at school so that you can be successful, and also seeing that connection to if you're successful in school, how that will lead to them kind of breaking the cycle of poverty and being able to get out of this situation.
So school can be like a pathway to like getting out of poverty because you're like getting an education.
Right.
Can it help you like socially, like having people to talk to?
I would say, you mean like, do they think like socially maybe they're behind their peers as well?
I read an article that talked about how one of the struggles that people who are homeless have is like people won't talk to them because when you're just like walking down the street, you don't like talk to everybody you meet, so like you might not know. Or you might not know it.
I would say it's not necessarily a, like, what's the word I'm thinking of? I would say it's not anything that prohibits people from talking to them here, because it's not something people necessarily know.
Yeah.
And so that's why we kind of maybe help with those things, like having clean clothes and shoes and making sure they have access to have good hygiene. I think those are things that maybe might also cause a limitation of their social activity with people. And so once those things are taken care of, it kind of helps promote good relationships with other people.
I don't know if you know much about this, but like if you are struggling at home, does it make it harder to work in school?
Absolutely. I think anybody would attribute to that. Like that's why we talk about resiliency so much, that you are going to like face many like a lot of adversity in your life, and obviously homelessness is probably one of the biggest barriers anybody could have to success. But that's why they put things in place like providing the transportation for you to get here, and that you know that this is a place that you're safe and that you can be fed, and you're guaranteed those 2 meals when you're here. And I think that brings a connection to school and that they want to be here. And so obviously, even though we're taking care of them, they probably still have a lot of worries that are on their mind about like, are they going to be able to eat at night? Are they going to be able to, if it's a true homeless situation, like who else is going to be in the shelter that night? Do they feel safe at the shelter? I mean, there's many different things that could be attributing to them being distracted and not being able to focus on school.
So you said there are like 32 families who are currently using
32 students. Yeah.
Students.
So there would be probably, I mean, I don't want to speak numbers for sure, but I would say that there's probably a couple students per family. So maybe cut that in half. Maybe it's 15 total families.
So I'm not very good with scale, so is that like a large number for an area?
I'm not really quite sure on what that looks like either. I would say that would maybe be information that we could find though, like knowing like based on school size, what is like the average number, like maybe even reaching out to Waterloo and saying like, do you know how many students qualify for this service? 'Cause it could be, you know, higher, same, lower, I don't know. I would say I've worked in other communities that are smaller than Cedar Falls, and I wouldn't say 32. I think 32 is a larger number compared to like Waverly, Shell Rock, and Independence.
But that also might just be
Mhm.
because we're larger.
Size, yeah. So I think it just kind of depends.
Oh yeah, okay. This isn't really an interview question, but I had a thought, which is that we do like a lot of fundraisers with like student council and with the dances and stuff. Would it be possible to do one of those for a homeless shelter?
I think so, yeah, like, you mean like House of Hope, potentially? Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we have to then give up, like, we wouldn't be doing a dance marathon, but we could do maybe a Pennyworth for House of Hope or something as well, like,
Okay.
if it was something that we thought was, if we really wanted to continue with dance marathon as what the dance was for, and then did a House of Hope fundraiser for something else, it just kind of would depend on what the student body wanted to do.
I had just thought of that.
Yeah.
That would be kind of cool.
I know right now we are doing, like, the Northeast Iowa Food Bank, they do like meals, and so they have like sandwiches and chips and different things, and like, so you can purchase a meal for $8, and I think it then provides 3 meals for families. And I don't know if it's meals or for one person, maybe for 3 people, and so then, one of our options was we could also buy a meal for House of Hope, so you could donate a meal as well.
Okay.
So it'd be something like maybe during that time, it'd be like we could do a penny war, and then all of that stuff goes and buys meals for House of Hope.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I think that's all the questions
Okay.
I had.
I'm trying to think if you would want this. I think this is, Jill White is our contact, our coordinator for student services, so she might,
Okay.
like, as far as knowing maybe the comparison in other school districts, she might have a good resource for that as well.
Okay.
Like, maybe what does it look like across the state? Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay,
Thank you.
awesome. It's painless, honey. We're supposed to have a student council meeting tomorrow, but I'm